Hi everyone. Today I'm going to share with you my collection of antique napkin rings. A while back I discovered these after finding one online. This was my very first one, and this one is just a pretty silver. I don't happen to see any markings, but I really loved the fact that it was on this little stand, and it was a very good price. I think I got it for under $30, which is an excellent price for a napkin ring like this. I bought it from a dealer that I know of that is reputable, so I had a good feeling that it would be the real deal. I do know that these are reproduced, so you have to be a little careful if you decide to collect them. Once I got this one, I got more into it, and I looked up the history of napkins and napkin rings online, and it's just fascinating. And I thought I would share a little bit about that today with you. Napkin rings really have an interesting story. They stem back actually to the European bourgeoisie movement and the upper class in France in the 19th century. They became very popular when silver became the rage, and started spreading like wildfire throughout neighboring European nations. And their main purpose was for hygiene. Now, napkins back then were not washed every day. They were cloth napkins, and they didn't have washing machines like we have. So each person that sat around the table would have their own particular napkin ring. And many of them had their name inscribed or their initials inscribed. This one says Lizzie Bow, and that could have been a child's napkin ring. This is what's called a fluted napkin ring, and it has some engraving, little flower engravings on it. But Lizzie Bow, isn't that the sweetest thing? So each one had their own napkin ring at their table setting, and they would use that same napkin ring for an entire week or so until it got, I guess, extremely dirty, and then they would hand wash it. Did you know, this was something else I learned in research, that in the dark days of the Middle Ages, people didn't have napkins at all. They would use scraps, they would use slices of bread to wipe food from their mouth. Now, can you imagine that? And the Romans were actually the first civilization to use cloth napkins. And they would use small or large scraps of cloth to clean themselves up. So, napkin rings and napkins, it became a very important aspect of dining and dining etiquette. Sterling silver was very popular among the French upper classes due to its relative ease of being molded into different shapes. And later on, napkin rings were made from several other materials such as wood, glass, pewter, bone, and porcelain. And that increased their popular appeal because they were more affordable to the middle classes. The other thing that I find just so charming about them is that they were made into beautiful little shapes, figures, animals. Here's a beautiful sparrow, and this one says Herbert. Can you see that? Herbert. And one of the characteristics of a real antique napkin ring is that the engraving is done well. And I mean, you can look at this and It just has a real patina about it that makes you know that this is the real thing. They're also quite heavy. Now, I have not collected the very valuable sterling silver ones. These are in the price range of probably, I mean, if you're lucky, you might find one under $30, but most of these range from $30 to $100. If you get into collecting the sterling silver napkin rings, it would cost you hundreds of dollars. I've seen them for $600, $800, and $1,000 online. I mainly get the quadruple plate napkin rings, and you know, I just find them to be just wonderful. I mean, I don't really need to get sterling silver. I think these are just precious enough. Here's another one. This is a little chick. This is a great one for Easter. Now you can see this has a really dark patina to it, and I have not polished this at all. I am one that likes the natural patina. This particular one that I got first, I think this was polished up a little bit, and I think this one was also polished a bit. Look at that beautiful bird on both sides, and I love the ones that have the little feet on them. This one has a little wishbone with the chick. I think that is so dear, and it says best wishes. I don't know if you can tell that. And this is by the Derby Silver Company in Birmingham, Connecticut. And it does have some numbers here. If it's sterling, it will be marked, but I don't believe that's a sterling sign. That's just the numbers 335, I believe. So there's that one. Here's another one similar to the first one I got, but this one has been engraved along the top band. Maybe made around the exact same time, but a little bit fancier. Here's one that has a round bottom stand and just a pretty fern and floral engraving. And it is marked on the bottom, quadruple plate. And it looks like, I don't know, I really would need a magnifying glass, but it tells you the name of the company that made it. I adore this one. It's a little dog, kind of looks like a Frenchie or a little bulldog, and it just stands like that. So maybe this was a child's also. And look at the gorgeous design on this one. I mean, these can get quite elaborate. And this has the initials R-E-M. It just makes you wonder who used that years and years ago. They became popular in America in the 1800s, starting around mid-1860s or so. And I think I read where it was the Victorian era that really got them going over here. Look at this one. This is another little dog. Look at that little dog. And he's standing up, sitting up on his hind legs. Looks like he's smiling up at that little bird. Look at that precious little bird. And again, the initials B. That could be an L or an S. And the last one I think is an H. And that is by, let's see if I can read this one. This is triple plate, warranted triple plate, which this silver is not nearly as nice or good as sterling silver, but I mean, it has good weight to it, and it's old. It's by the Aurora Company. It has the number 27. I think that's really sweet. And then this is another one. This one doesn't have a stand, but it looks like it has cherries. Little cherries and leaves engraved on it, and again in the fluted edge. So that's my collection so far, and I hope to continue to collect these. And I keep them right now in this old silver bridal bowl. And this was also used in the 1800s at wedding ceremonies. They didn't call them bridal bowls back then. They were just fruit bowls or cake bowls. They would put their wedding bouquet in there, or strawberries or nuts and candies. And they had a bowl that sat on top of this. This one's a little bit wobbly. That's okay. You can see it has pretty engraving at the bottom. Again, I did not polish this up. There is a symbol on the bottom. I believe it says quadruple plate. I really need a magnifying glass though, but it is not sterling silver. But I do have a true antique bridal bowl that I can also put in here. My cousin gave it to me when my husband and I first got married 8 years ago. And it's a light cranberry color with a white edging, scalloped edging. It's just gorgeous. She didn't include the stand, so I found a stand to go with it, and just love it. But I thought these look kind of cute in there. And I could also put them on a table if I wanted to have a little dinner party. I could actually use these. I think it would be really sweet. I have never done that because I actually have, for my fancy service, I have gold. But you can always mix gold and silver. That doesn't bother me. So anyway, that was my little collection here I wanted to share today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. We have a kind of a wet, rainy one here today, but I enjoy those as much as a sunny day sometimes. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.